Some guys like sports. I like serial killers.
Hello guys and welcome to Double Slash. I started this channel before Scream 6 was even released and I've only uploaded 3 videos so far. It's been a long time since I last posted and there are many reasons for that. First of all, last year was my final year of college and I had a lot of work to do, so I had to prioritize that. But most importantly, after Melissa Barrera was unfairly fired from Scream 7 for speaking out against the genocide that's been going on in Palestine, I was really devastated. Scream has always been my favorite thing in the whole world. I remember watching it for the first time when I was around 6 years old, I think, and ever since then, I've been a huge fan. So it completely broke my heart to see that happen to my favorite franchise. I also remember I was in a hospital when I read that she was fired. I had just gotten out of the ICU and then I was hit by this horrible news. In today's video, I want to talk about the Boycott Scream 7 movement that's been going on. But I ask that if you're one of those people who take a few sentences out of context just to push a narrative, or if you're biased, just click off the video and mind your own business. But if you're staying, please watch the whole thing. I plan on being more consistent with my channel, but I can't do that without addressing the whole situation with Melissa and Spyglass, since it was a huge and unfortunate event. We lost a beloved character who I hope returns in the future. So before I start posting again, I feel like I need to make this video. Today, I'll share my opinion on the Boycott Scream 7 movement, whether I'll be boycotting it too, and break it all down. If you disagree with me, that's fine. That's how democracy works. But I won't tolerate any disrespect from anyone. So be nice, and I'll be nice too. I'm not making this video because I think my opinion matters, because I know I'm a nobody, but as a fan of the franchise, it wouldn't feel right to start posting again without addressing the elephant in the room. I'm also not making this video to convince anyone. I'm just sharing my perspective, and if it makes sense to you, great. If not, that's fine too. You're entitled to your own opinion. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I want to say right off the bat is that I support anyone who chooses to boycott Scream 7. Boycotting is a personal decision that reflects your beliefs, and at the end of the day, you have to do what you think is right and what helps you sleep at night. It's your decision whether or not a movie is worth watching. That being said, I think it's completely unfair to generalize an entire group of fans and call them Zionists just for watching Scream 7. The only ones at fault here is Spyglass. Attacking any cast member, whether it's Nev, Courtney, Jasmine, Mason, and even Matthew Lillard, is just pointless. You're putting the blame on the wrong people. I also want to point out the hypocrisy of some boycotters, and that's the reason why I'm making this video, because I think there's too much hypocrisy going on, especially on social media, and it's just messed up. So many people thinking they're morally better than everyone else. So if you're one of those people, let me ask you a question. Do you think that consuming a product owned by a terrible person or company automatically makes you a terrible person too, and means that you agree with or support their views and actions? If you say yes, then let me ask you another question. By your logic, if you use X, formerly known as Twitter, does that mean you support or agree with Elon Musk's political views, transphobic statements, and everything else he stands for? Because you can't pick and choose when to have morals. You either have them or you don't. Now, I don't think that using X makes you transphobic, a Nazi, or whatever, just like I don't think that watching Scream 7 makes you a Zionist. We live in capitalism. 99% of these big corporations have terrible CEOs. If you want to call out Spyglass, go ahead, but let the fans enjoy what they want to enjoy. Shaming people for being excited about a movie is low, especially if you're still on Twitter or X supporting the platform. And before anyone says, hey, I don't give money to Elon Musk, yes, you do. Even if you don't pay for subscriptions, you still do. Free apps make money from advertisement, and for a company to decide where to promote their brand, the popularity of an app will be a decisive factor. That means the more time you spend on X, the more popular it gets and the more brands invest on it. So yeah, even if you're not paying directly, you're still giving money to it, not to mention helping it trend and keep it in the #1 app in the news category on App Store. On top of that, Elon has connections with Netanyahu, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and honestly I don't care, who is Israel's prime minister, and he openly supports Israel. So if boycotting is really important to you, the first step you should take is deleting your X account. I hope you're not spineless, a word so many people love using nowadays. I don't know, maybe it makes them feel better about themselves. And yes, I know that there are people and organizations that use the platform to spread awareness and advocate for Palestine. But let's be real for a second, that's not why you are on X. What's going on with Palestine? It's a real life problem, one that won't be solved by me or anyone else if we simply don't watch Scream 7. It's a way bigger problem. People are dying, children, families, and the best way to help them is to donate as much as you can, share organizations that are helping them, and spread the word against the genocide. If you don't do that, but are yapping about boycotting Scream 7, sorry, you're just mad that Melissa got fired. Just like this user who out of all his tweets regarding Palestine, almost all of them have Melissa's name attached to it. And one of the only tweets I found that didn't have her name on it was actually an attempt of joke or meme. I don't know, I just feel like this isn't the type of situation you want to post memes about. I'll leave in the description some websites from organizations where you can donate to Palestine and join the cause. If you want to boycott Scream 7, you gotta do it for the right reasons. I love Melissa Barrera. I really wish they continued the story of the Carpenter sisters. Sam is my favorite character from the Core 4, and I know many people loved her and therefore were pissed when she was fired too. But still, the reason behind Melissa's firing is way bigger than her. So make sure to boycott it for the right reason. To get straight to the point, I would not boycott Scream 7. I really hate that she was fired, but Scream is my favorite franchise. Just like you might say, well, I won't quit X because I was here before Elon bought it. I won't quit Scream because I was here before Spyglass did what they did. And before you call me spineless, wait a few minutes to see if you're really excused from the spineless club. I mean, considering you're not already spineless for having an account on X, because if you do have one, I bring you some bad news. Welcome to the spineless club. I could lie and say I will boycott it, but I would be excited to watch any Scream movie, even if it was a remake, an idea I totally hate. I would still watch it because it is Scream. It's a franchise that I grew up watching. I have so great memories of watching those movies when I was a kid, with my parents, with my family, with my sister. And I know what I stand for. I know I support Palestine. I don't have to prove myself because I can sleep at night peacefully. And most importantly, I know my morals don't rely on the money I spend for a cheap-ass movie ticket. But I also think it's unfair how many hypocrites have been pointing out their fingers at people and attacking them because they watch a movie. Do you really want to boycott Scream 7? Perfect. I took some time to do some research, so here are the companies and movies you also gotta add to your boycott list, as well as actors, producers, and anyone involved on them. So as I said, if you truly believe in boycotting, you will surely boycott the following companies, unless you don't have morals, according to your own logic. So let's start with the obvious, Screams 5 and 6. That's right, those movies are still under Spyglass. It doesn't matter if they are on streaming platforms, Spyglass still gets money from it and you're helping them. And neither should it matter if it's less money than what they got from theatrical release, because what should matter to you is your morals. I bet you have enough morals to never watch those movies again. Now let's talk about Beetlejuice. Starred by our beloved Jenna Ortega, Beetlejuice is under Warner. And for those who don't know, Warner and Spyglass are partners. Not only that, but Warner's CEO, David Zaslav, I don't know how to pronounce, he openly supports Israel. That's also the reason behind CNN's bias, as CNN is part of Warner as well as Discovery. David has praised a right-wing terrorist force for blowing up a wing of the King David Hotel in 1946 that killed over 90 people, including many civilians, and helped compel the British to get out of Palestine. Do you think we should hold Jenna Ortega accountable for working with Warner, like some of you guys want to hold the Scream 7 cast accountable? Or it doesn't apply to her? Perhaps it applies to her when it comes to Netflix, a famous company that I'm sure many of the boycotters still subscribe to, a company that has recently removed all Palestinian movies from its catalog, and on top of that did absolutely nothing when Noah, one of the stars of Stranger Things, was chanting that Zionism is sexy. Not even a statement, nothing. Not firing an openly Zionist speaks a lot about Netflix, just like firing Melissa for supporting Palestine speaks a lot about Spyglass. So are we boycotting Wednesday Season 2 as well, or not? Are we holding Jenna accountable too, or not? Alright, moving forward, let's talk about the upcoming Until Dawn movie. Are you excited about that movie, boycotter? Maybe you shouldn't, because it's under Sony, a company that supports Israel. So that means no more video games on PlayStation for you, and also no Until Dawn. Let's boycott that too. A movie I have recently watched and I had a great time is Abigail, starred by Melissa Barrera herself. Do you know that Abigail is also under Project X Entertainment, the same company that's working with Spyglass on Scream 7? Can't believe you guys gave money to that movie. I mean, look at the company. They clearly don't support Palestine and they clearly have no morals, right? So let's remember to never watch Abigail again. And by the way, Melissa was amazing in that movie. Have you watched Companion, or are you excited about Final Destination Bloodlines? Again, maybe you shouldn't, considering both of these movies are under New Line Cinema, which is part of the Warner's Motion Picture Group, therefore also associated with Spyglass, and well, I've already talked about Warner's CEO. Any movie from Columbia Pictures you might want to boycott as well because the studio is owned by Sony, and as I said, Sony supports Israel. So that means you can watch I Know What You Did Last Summer, the reboot, Karate Kid's Legends, 28 years later, and even Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse or Angry Birds 3, and so many others. You have to boycott Amazon as well, and that includes their film studio, MGM, since they support Israel, and also all movies related to Lantor Capital Partners, Lionsgate, Eagle Pictures, and Cineworld. You might want to boycott it since they are associated with Spyglass. And yes, Lionsgate, from Hunger Games to Saw to American Psycho, make sure to never watch those movies again. Also, Lionsgate CEO John Feldheimer supports Israel and has supported Zionist propagandas such as ads. You of course have to boycott Disney since they support Israel, and that includes Marvel. You also have to boycott DreamWorks since its CEO also supports Israel, and you might also want to boycott Microsoft and Apple for donating and supporting Israel. That means you can't buy any Xbox related item or iPhones, iPads, MacBooks, and never buy the Windows system. Do you plan on watching The Conjuring 4? Well, if you're a boycotter, think again because it is from Warner. Now let's talk about Blumhouse. The CEO, Jason Blum, signed the Zionist propaganda No Hostages letter. I bet you won't watch Five Nights at Freddy's sequel, right? Or any other Blumhouse movie ever again. Now the company should boycott its Atomic Monsters since they are part of Blumhouse. So no Megan 2.0, and I hope you didn't watch the Monkey movie. I mean, you should be boycotting it too. Any movie from Paramount you have to boycott as well since they are also working on Scream 7, and not only that, but Paramount supports Israel as they've stated that they stand with Israel. Now think about all Paramount movies and shows that you have to boycott, and that includes the franchise Smile. And I want to be very careful with what I'm about to say next because the actress has been going through some real problems, but it's just to show the hypocrisy of some of you guys. There is a movie that was released last year by a beloved actress amongst the Scream fan base, and Lionsgate was involved. And as I mentioned, Lionsgate and Spyglass are partners, and its CEO supports Israel. But fortunately, nobody's talking about it because these are actors who are doing their job. The reason why I'm listing these movies and companies is not because I'm making fun of the movement, by the way. I know that there are people who will boycott them all, but I'm listing these movies for those hypocrites, the people on social media that harass and bully Scream 7 supporters. I took various screenshots of the most popular accounts of them praising or talking about some of the movies I mentioned. Like I said, it's all about hypocrisy. I'm thinking about making a special video exposing some of them because how can you attack any Scream 7 supporter if you've watched or plan on watching any of these movies I mentioned and give money to these companies? I only named a few movies, the most popular ones, but you might also want to boycott the new Strangers trilogy, Smile 3, Vicious, Pet Sematary, The Woman in the Yard, Saw 11, Orphan 3, The Fantastic Four, The Black Phone 2, Fear Street Prom Night, Sinners, Drop, Evil Dead Burns, and so many others. And before you say, we're only boycotting Spyglass, not associates, no, you're not. You're boycotting and attacking every cast member, every actor, and even their families. You guys are threatening the fans, bullying them for being excited about a movie. Anyone that associates or praises a Spyglass movie will be poorly seen by you guys. So if you're going to boycott the actors and the fans for associating themselves with Spyglass, do it for the companies that are associates with Spyglass too. What do you think about these companies? Shouldn't you be boycotting them too? And a quick question, have you deleted your X account yet? And if not, why not? Do you support Elon Musk? I mean, by your logic, if I'm a Zionist, because I'm going to watch Scream 7, you are also a Zionist since Elon Musk supports Israel, but you're also a Nazi, a Trumpist, a transphobic, and so many other awful things. I mean, two can play at this game, right? Now, I could go on and on, naming movies ran by companies whose CEOs are assholes, because that's 99% of the companies out there, folks, especially for horror movies. I mentioned all these big companies out there and even some independent companies and studios. Unless you're willing to boycott them all, you can't say shit about Scream 7. And no, this is not a competition of which company is worse, but like I said, you can't pick and choose when to have morals. It doesn't work like that. Thinking you're better than anyone because you're boycotting one company out of hundreds of others that are as problematic and that you still consume, touch some grass. If your morals is so important to you, you have to Google the people behind every movie you watch. It goes the same for music, food companies, clothing brands, and etc. You have to check every fucking time. And don't come with the excuse of, well, I didn't know, because if you truly cared, you would have Googled. Is the problem giving money to bad companies, or is the problem that everyone is talking about it? Because then, let's all agree to never boycott anything, right? If you're only boycotting because the information is viral, I mean, are you willing to give money to bad companies as long as nobody tells you they're bad? How does it work? And also, given the current situation of Palestine, shouldn't you be looking for companies that are against Palestine to boycott them? Shouldn't that be a priority of yours? Mind you, I only give examples of companies that either support Israel or Spyglass or both. I haven't talked about studios in which their CEOs have faced criminal charges, accusations, sexual scandals, CEOs who are LGBTQ phobic, sexist, racist. I mean, the list goes on and on. And I haven't talked about some music labels that you might be giving money to, from producers to heads of these labels to sometimes even artists themselves. I don't think that if someone listens to a Katy Perry song that was produced by Dr. Luke, that they support Dr. Luke, even if they are giving him money indirectly. I don't think we should hold Jenna Ortega accountable or any other actor or the fans. The industry is full of nasty people who is pulling the strings. If you can't separate the art from the company behind it, that's fine. Just make sure to do that with every single company in any department. Otherwise, you'll be just a hypocrite. You want to hold Neff Campbell accountable? Sure. Then hold Jenna too. I don't hold none of them accountable personally for mistakes they didn't make, but you can't choose one and forget about the other. If you want to boycott Scream 7, I support you. I think you should. But stop shaming people for watching it when you, in your home, give money to horrible people in companies too. You guys look like those homophobics who take passages off the Bible that are convenient to them in order to support their hate, but totally overlook the other hundreds of passages that would send them to hell as well. So speak up against Spyglass, speak up in favor of Palestine, donate, do something, but stop attacking the fans, or even the movie. I support Palestine, I don't support Spyglass, and so you might be wondering, why aren't you boycotting them? And it's simple. Apart from Scream being my favorite franchise, I personally don't believe in boycotting. I'm very realist or pessimistic even, and realistically speaking, it won't harm neither Spyglass or Scream 7 or any other company I mentioned. These are billionaires behind their companies. They have the power and the money, all thanks to capitalism. I admire those who have hope in boycotting, but I don't. If you believe in boycotting, then do it. At first, I considered boycotting Scream 7 since I was really pissed by what they did to Melissa and why they did it. But I know I won't be able to boycott every company and every brand in the world that are problematic. I know I'll still have an account on X, I'll still drink Coca-Cola and watch movies from all these companies I mentioned. So what would be the point? I would have to give up on one of my favorite things in the world, claiming I have morals, just so I can continue to be on X or consume products by other shitty companies? I would feel like a hypocrite. It's sad to say this, but I don't have the guts to boycott all the companies. And from my perspective, if you only boycott one of them but still consume the others that are as messy, you are a hypocrite. Now, do you have the guts to boycott all these companies I mentioned? And that includes YouTube too, since it's from Google. Unless you're willing to boycott everything, then I'm sorry, but you have no morals too. And you can't point your finger at me or any Scream 7 supporter. We can help Palestine by politics, manifestations, demands, not boycotting a movie. Imagine I would boycott Scream 7, what would happen? Would they bankrupt because of it? No. Would that stop them from making Scream 8? No. Would the movie flop? Very unlikely. Then what? I wait for Scream 8 announcement to boycott it again, and you could say, well, but you would have your morals intact, and that argument doesn't work with me, because I don't agree that in capitalism, our morals rely on what we consume as entertainment. Also the reason why I won't quit X. It won't make no difference to Elon Musk, it won't make him bankrupt, and I won't be able to convince millions of users to quit as well. I mean, I'm pessimistic, as I mentioned, but if you're not, fine, boycott it. I hope you get what you want. I hope you sleep peacefully. Just respect the decisions of the fans who will watch Scream 7 and who has no faith in boycotting, because you might not have morals to demand it from others. I have personally donated, and it doesn't make me a great human being or anything like that, but I also think it's important for me to mention it. I just don't think I can ever boycott all these companies, especially my favorite franchise. And most of you guys can't either, as I've seen most of you attack Scream 7 and then later praise all these movies from these studios that I mentioned. Another thing is that some people are upset with Scream 7, and I totally get it, but they find every little excuse to shit on it regarding the script, as if 5 and 6 were Oscar-nominated movies when, in fact, script-wise, they were the worst movies of the franchise. Although Scream 6 isn't my personal top 3, but objectively speaking, they have many errors. Maybe one day I'll talk about them in a video. So these people be hating the movie, but still keeping up with every news, every cast announcement, every plot rumor, like, just being childish, and you're supposed to be boycotting it. Remember, not helping it trend. The movie will come out. It will make numbers. Although honestly, I couldn't care less about box office. I know the Scream franchise will always survive, even if it takes another decade or so for a next installment. And I don't support Spyglass either. In fact, I hope they sell their rights to another company. And to wrap things up, I want to make it clear, I don't discourage anyone from boycotting. These companies should be held accountable. However, I just can't take the hypocrisy. If you want to boycott a company for a reason, you have to boycott all the others for the same reason. You can't be picky in these times. And if you won't boycott all of them, at least don't be so full of yourself to think you're better than anyone. Be humble and stop attacking or bullying people. And please don't come with justifications when you consume a product from one of these companies like, oh, but this was cheap, or oh, this was just one product. You still gave money to them. And as I said, what should matter is your morals. I said at the beginning of the video, probably repeated it somewhere, and I'll say it again. I support you if you want to boycott. Just do it for all companies and stop pointing fingers at people and bullying them. It won't help the case. It would only make others turn their backs to the movement, as some of you guys are a horrible portrait of what this movement should stand for. I also want to say I don't support any attack on Melissa. I truly think she's really talented and wish for her to be more and more successful. There are haters from both sides, but I would be biased if I don't mention the amount of hate Melissa has been getting. She did nothing wrong. She was brave and she stood up for what's right. And to the Scream 7 supporters, stop telling people not to boycott shit. Do it like me, do the opposite. Tell them to boycott, but boycott every single company. Otherwise, they will have no morals to attack any Scream 7 supporter. And ask yourself, are you really mad because of the reason why Spyglass fired Melissa, or are you mad because she was fired? Are you willing to boycott all these companies and movies I mentioned, as well as many others that are out there? I'm sure you won't care, because the truth is, hating Scream 7 gets you likes and makes you feel seen. That's why you ignore or block people that have strong arguments against you, because some of you guys don't really care about having morals. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be on Twitter to begin with. But what matters to you is how you're perceived online. Some of you folks have turned social media into your life. You're not seen by real people in real life. You're not seen by your parents. You don't have friends. In real life, nobody finds you interesting, so you have to belong somewhere. That's also why you won't quit X, and why you're a hypocrite. You think you belong. That's why you send tweets in your squad group chats and think you won an argument because your tweet had more likes. And even though you kept saying the same shit over and over until someone asks you why you aren't boycotting X, and you say, well, that's totally different, and then disappear, or simply hit the block button without even replying to them, I bet my money that some of you will be watching Scream 7. And I actually will take a look very closely to some of you. You better not watch it as you claim you won't, because there are so many people who I'm just waiting to expose as soon as I can, because I don't have a problem if you don't want to watch Scream 7. But I can't stand the hypocrisy. And the death threats and the bullying that you guys have been doing to the Scream 7 fans, even talking about mass shootings in movie theaters, it's not alright. If you want to boycott, stop talking about it, because some of you look like you're jealous. You want to watch it, and probably will, but are so afraid to lose some mutuals and the brotherhood you guys belong to on X. All you guys do is talk about it, instead of bringing awareness to the real problem. You're always saying shit like, oh, that movie is dust. Oh, Scream 7 is over. It will flop hard. I mean, are your parents proud of you? All these years paying for your education and you're on Twitter crying because there are people who will watch a movie? You're not better than anyone if you boycott Scream 7, but watch or support any movie I mentioned, and so many others that are out there. Get off this invisible throne you're at. You're just a hypocrite. Hollywood is full of nasty people, and here's a tip. If you want to stick to your morals, you better not watch any other movie again, just to be safe. Now let me give you an advice for those who are Scream 7 supporters. Every time they call you a Zionist on Twitter, call them a Nazi supporter. It's quite simple and self-explanatory. Thanks a lot for those who watched. I might post some videos about Scream 7 soon, as I am really excited about this upcoming movie. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, comment down below your opinions, and leave a like. Thank you.